Hello and welcome back to the Data Privacy Lawyer. My name is Funmi Owolabi and I'm the principal attorney at the firm. Today's review, we're going to be looking at AI. So I think AI is very valuable to talk about from a privacy context because although they are not the same from a concept perspective, there are influences on artificial intelligence that look into how personal data is processed and as such additional responsibilities on organizations. So I just hovered over the products. They have something for start. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is some type of recruiting service, it looks like. I don't know the ins and outs. One of the questions I always ask, and actually I'm planning to do an entire video on the intake form that I present to clients, like the draft form. I think it would be valuable for businesses to see what type of information a privacy lawyer might collect in order to understand how their organization functions and then to be able to provide good advisory. And another reason why I really started this channel is I think that many organizations sometimes omit to do a check-in as it pertains to personal data. They spend a lot of time building their products and services, but sometimes privacy becomes an afterthought in the creation. And I think that privacy should be at the forefront. There's a principle in the data protection space known as privacy by design. And with the use of artificial intelligence, I think even more so now, it's really important for businesses to think about data protection at the beginning of the creation of any of their products and take it into consideration because businesses are becoming more savvy about their own obligations, and that influences the type of supplier that they might engage with, right? And generally, I will say that for almost all of the documents we review on my channel, they are for a customer facing audience. I don't think I've reviewed any for an employee audience, but if I can find links to that, then I will definitely start reviews on those as well, because there are additional considerations when we process employee data and when we process prospective employee data, because we're not just looking at privacy legislation, we're looking at employee laws, and those vary geography to geography. If you're a global organization, you're thinking about employee processing on a global spectrum. You're not just looking at privacy legislation. I think that most of the documents we review are for the customers, which I think is valuable, right? If a customer wants to conduct due diligence before they engage or procure a service from an organization, having these documents available to review is really valuable. Okay, so these are for the AI features. They supplement, are subject to, and are governed by the terms of service, or if a customer has executed a master service agreement, the master service agreement too. So let's talk about this, right? I talked about how these terms for the AI features, this is not a traditional privacy document. When we think about traditional privacy documents, we're thinking about the notice and cookies. Privacy notice and cookie notice, traditional privacy documents. Now, the reason we're reviewing this is because you can see that these particular terms are supplemented or subject to and or governed by whatever the terms of service say and the master service agreement. Okay, now I don't know these and I don't have access to this. The only review we're looking at today is what this company has provided based on the terms for AI features. So a lot of the times these documents feed into one another. Now, from what I know as a practitioner, generally this master service agreement will have something called a data processing agreement associated with it as an addendum. And that addendum influences all of the other terms. So we've got the master service agreement dictates all the services, right? And as part of these master service agreements, most organizations will have something called a DPA. Now, I don't know if that's the case here because I don't have access to this document, but the master service agreement talks about the DPA. The DPA talks about data processing, and AI features always have some type of privacy component because there's processing of personal data usually associated with these features. Now, I'm yet to see an AI tool that does not process personal data. I have not seen it. And from my reviews, you've also seen that suppliers have talked about personal data when they're discussing these terms. So let's keep looking at the terms, but I think it's valuable. And then they keep using the term customers. So let's just presume, based off of this document, that the audience here are customers exclusively. They haven't mentioned other data subjects like vendors or partners or employees. So let's just say that certain AI tools and functionality that's being discussed here is for a customer audience. Now we got to think, what type of personal data do we collect from our customers? We'll probably collect the name of the customer, the title of whoever we're liaising with from an invoice perspective, the person's email address so we can send them the terms, the person's phone number if we need to call them about a clarification. We might also get insights about who their team is, maybe other people within the customer's organization, right? that listing out the data inventory associated with a customer profile is very important because it influences how the AI tool will work for the customer, right? Together. So, use of third-party AI services. The AI tool incorporates artificial intelligence services. The third-party AI services currently used by this company in providing the AI tools: OpenAI, AWS, Google Gemini. Okay. So by opting into these AI tools, the customer is acknowledging that customer data will be shared with and processed. We've got that word again, right? This is a very privacy specific word, and it means any operation or set of operations on personal data. So what we're saying here is, and the really valuable thing is, before you engage with a supplier, you can take a look at this because it's publicly available online, as is every document I've ever reviewed. Everything was publicly available online. So if you're looking at your own privacy practices, let's say you're an organization and you've got privacy notice, you've got your privacy policy, you've got the internal documents you distribute towards customers. If you are going to engage with these AI features, it's important for you to know what it is you're signing up for and agreeing to. I'll tell you something about these terms. A lot of organizations have made them publicly available because there's something that we call as lawyers boilerplate. And boilerplate, it's something that's used to make it simple for us to sign up customers without having to redraft documents. So essentially, most organizations are going to have boilerplate templates from a legal standpoint. Now, they can be tweaked and edited. Customers might have specific nuances that apply to their organization. Let's say that the customer is a government entity. There may be additional considerations that that entity might want to add to boilerplate templates. So there's that consideration, but generally these are being distributed. If the customer reviews them and agrees, then, they can get right on with obtaining the service from the supplier. But I focused on this word because we'll see it consistently, and I'm pretty sure we've seen it in almost every review. Businesses have moved away from using personal data to the word processing, because processing covers any operation or set of operations on personal data. Let's talk about this. No training on customer data, very valuable. If you look at other AI reviews that I've done, there are instances where suppliers have made it clear that they will train on customer data. Now, why should a customer care about this? It may be internally at your organization, you're the customer, right? And you want to make sure that your data is only used for the service that's being provided. You don't want to facilitate or improve the services of your supplier by allowing them to train on your customer information. Let's say you're submitting images of your employees within the tool, or you're submitting their name or email address. Sometimes the terms of AI are going to say, we are going to use your data to train our features. Now, you have to think about this from a business perspective, and then also what's required under the data protection laws in the geographies where you provide products and services. Are we okay with that, and does the legislation allow for it? If the legislation does not allow for it, then it's not a supplier that you can engage with, right? And you have to have your own policies to know what you can and cannot accept. I talk a lot in generalizations because one of the biggest pieces of information that's always missing from all my reviews is geography. I don't know where any of these products and services are being sold, right? And one of the values of having a privacy lawyer is they will tell you the information that you need for your specific business, right? Your business may only provide products and services in the US. All your vendors are located in the US. All the processing is done in the US. Now, the US has several privacy laws, right? And understanding those is going to be valuable so that you can understand things from a risk perspective and then also from a legal perspective. What can we agree to based on the legislation? So I really hope you enjoyed this review. Although we didn't get into all of the exclusive AI components, if you have comments about what I've stated, leave them below and I'll see you in another review.